As the calendar turns and the world counts down to a brand new year, there is a sacred moment many people rush past without realizing what they are leaving behind. Fireworks go off, messages are sent, resolutions are written, but heaven is still waiting for something deeper than noise, deeper than plans, deeper than promises made to self. Before you step into what is next, before you carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's opportunity, there is a prayer that must rise from your spirit. Not a routine prayer, not a rush prayer, but a prayer that realigns your soul with God's timing, God's favor, and God's authority over your life. Because the truth is, many people enter a new year with the same battles, the same cycles, and the same silent frustrations, simply because they never stop to ask God to go before them. They move forward physically, but spiritually they are still dragging old chains. And what you don't release in prayer, you will repeat in experience. What you don't surrender, you will struggle with again. That is why this moment matters. This is not about superstition or tradition. This is about spiritual alignment. When you start the year without prayer, you are telling God, I've got this. And history has proven that human strength without divine covering always runs out. There are doors in front of you right now that will not open by effort alone. There are breakthroughs that will not respond to hard work, strategy, or motivation. They respond only to favor, and favor is not random. Favor flows where humility, obedience, and prayer prepare the ground. You may not know what is coming this year, but God does. You may not see the traps, delays, or divine appointments ahead, but God already stands in tomorrow. That is why prayer is not weakness. Prayer is wisdom. Prayer says, God, I trust you with what I cannot control. As this year approaches, God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be positioned to hear him, positioned to obey him, positioned to receive what he has already scheduled for you. There are blessings with your name on them that require spiritual readiness. There are opportunities that demand maturity, not excitement. And there are seasons that will test whether you truly believe what you say you believe when things are quiet, uncomfortable, and uncertain. This prayer is about asking God to go ahead of you and rearrange what you cannot reach. It is about asking him to remove delays you didn't cause and to correct mistakes you did cause. It is about asking him to cover your mind, your decisions, your family, your finances, and your purpose. Because if God is not involved, success will still feel empty. And if God is involved, even challenges will carry meaning. You don't need another year of survival. You need a year of clarity, a year where confusion no longer has the loudest voice, a year where fear no longer dictates your choices, a year where obedience becomes more natural than hesitation. That kind of year begins with prayer, not pressure. It begins with surrender, not striving. Right now, before anything else, your spirit needs to say, God, I don't want to repeat what you already delivered me from. Too many people pray for new things while holding on to old habits. They ask for growth while protecting comfort. But God does his deepest work in surrendered spaces. And this prayer is not about asking for more stuff. It is about asking for more God, more wisdom, more discernment, more peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, more courage to walk away from what no longer aligns with your calling. As you pray, you are not begging, you are aligning, you are stepping into agreement with what heaven already desires for you. God's favor is not earned, it is accessed. And access comes through humility, through acknowledging that. Without him, you can do nothing that lasts. Through recognizing that every breath, every opportunity, every open door is a gift. This year does not need to be louder than the last one. It needs to be deeper, deeper faith, deeper obedience, deeper trust. There are battles you won't have to fight if you pray now. There are tears you won't have to cry if you surrender now. There are mistakes you won't have to repeat if you listen now. When you pray before the year begins, you are placing a spiritual marker in time. You are declaring that no matter what comes, God is your source. That no matter what shifts, his word remains steady. That no matter how the world changes, your foundation is secure. This prayer is also about protection. Protection from distractions disguised as opportunities. Protection from relationships that drain rather than build. Protection from decisions made out of fear instead of faith. Not everything that looks good is God. Not every open door is meant for you, and discernment is a gift you must ask for before you need it. As you pray, ask God to sharpen your spiritual hearing. Ask him to quiet the noise around you so you can recognize his voice within you, because the next level of your life will require quicker obedience and fewer explanations. God will not always explain himself before he moves. Sometimes he moves first and explains later, and those who trust him enough to move with him will see things others only talk about. This year, God wants to break cycles of delay, cycles of frustration, cycles of almost but not quite. But cycles only break when something changes spiritually, not just emotionally. Motivation fades, prayer anchors, emotion fluctuates, faith stabilizes. You may be stepping into this year tired of believing, tired of waiting, tired of hoping, But prayer does not require energy, it creates it. When you come to God honest and open, He exchanges your weakness for His strength. He reminds you that waiting is not wasted when He is involved. That delay does not mean denial. That silence does not mean absence. This prayer is also about asking God to heal what you learned to hide. The silent disappointments, the unanswered questions, the moments you smiled through but never processed. God cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. And this year deserves a healed version of you, not a masked one. As you pray, invite God into your plans, but also give Him permission to change them. Some plans look good on paper, but lead to dead ends spiritually. Some detours feel uncomfortable, but save you from disasters you never see. Trusting God means being willing to let go of what you thought you needed in order to receive what He knows you need. There is a version of you that will exist at the end of this year that depends on what you do now. Not what you wish, not what you promise later, but what you surrender now. Prayer is the bridge between where you are and where God is taking you. It does not eliminate effort, but it directs it. It does not remove responsibility, but it removes confusion. This year, don't ask God to bless what you refuse to change. Ask Him to change you so your life becomes a blessing. Ask Him to align your desires with His will, because His will carries provision, protection, and peace. As you lift this prayer, remember that God is not distant. He is attentive. He is not reluctant. He is responsive. He is not overwhelmed by your needs. He is already prepared for them. And when you pray before the year begins, you are stepping into agreement with a God who finishes what He starts. There is favor waiting for obedience. There is breakthrough waiting for alignment. There is peace waiting for surrender, and there is a grace available for this year that you cannot access without prayer. So before the goals, before the hustle, before the noise, let your heart speak. Let your spirit bow. Let your words rise not as a performance, but as a posture. Say, God, go before me, guard what I cannot see, strengthen what is weak, remove what no longer serves your purpose, and prepare me for what you have prepared for me. Because this year is not just about what you achieve, it is about who you become while trusting God enough to lead. And as you stand on the edge of this new beginning, understand this truth deeply. When prayer leads, favor follows. When surrender leads, breakthrough follows. And when God goes first, nothing that is meant for you will miss you, and nothing that is not meant for you will be able to stay. Let your heart stay open here, because what God wants to do next is not rushed. It is intentional, and the posture you carry into this moment will shape how you recognize His hand when it begins to move. And when it begins to move, it may not look the way you imagined, but it will feel right in your spirit. God rarely announces His greatest works with noise. Most of the time, He moves quietly, steadily, intentionally. That is why prayer sharpens your sensitivity. It teaches you how to recognize divine movement without needing external validation. It trains your heart to trust even when logic hesitates. This year will demand a different level of trust from you. Not the kind of trust that only exists when things are going well, but the kind that stands firm when results are delayed and answers feel slow. Prayer is what keeps your faith alive during those in-between moments. It reminds you that God's timing is not careless, and His delays are never accidental. What feels like waiting is often preparation happening beneath the surface. There are things God will ask you to release this year that you once prayed to keep, and that will be confusing if you don't pray first. Prayer prepares your heart for transitions before they arrive. It helps you understand that losing something does not mean losing favor. Sometimes it means God is clearing space for something that requires more room than what you currently have as you step forward. Remember that growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding. God stretches you before He elevates you. He challenges your thinking before He expands your territory. And prayer keeps you grounded while everything around you shifts. Without prayer, change feels chaotic. With prayer, change feels purposeful. This year will not reward complacency. It will respond to obedience. And obedience is easier when your heart is aligned through prayer. When you pray, you don't just ask God to bless your steps. You ask Him to order them. You give Him permission to interrupt you, redirect you, and sometimes even slow you down for your own protection. There will be moments this year when things don't make sense. Moments when you wonder if you heard God correctly. Moments when old fears try to resurface and remind you of past disappointments. Prayer is what keeps you anchored during those moments. It reminds you that God's faithfulness in the past is proof of His reliability in the future. This prayer is also about courage. Courage to obey when obedience feels risky. Courage to speak when silence feels safer. Courage to walk away from what drains you, even if it once comforted you. God's favor often rests on decisions that require bravery, and prayer fuels that bravery by reminding you who is truly in control. This year, you may not receive everything you want, but you will receive everything you need to become who God has called you to be. And sometimes what you need looks like resistance. It looks like refinement. It looks like learning patience in places where you once demanded speed. Prayer helps you see value in the process instead of frustration. When you pray before the year begins, you are not just asking God to bless your future. You are asking Him to correct your perspective. You are saying, God, help me see what you see, because many blessings are missed, not because God didn't send them, but because they didn't look the way we expected. Prayer trains your eyes to recognize divine opportunities, even when they arrive disguised as challenges. This year, God will place people in your life who will stretch you. Some will challenge your thinking, some will challenge your habits, some will challenge your faith, and prayer gives you discernment to know who is meant to walk with you and who is meant to teach you something and then move on. Not every connection is permanent, but every connection can be purposeful. There will also be moments when God asks you to stand alone, not because you are forgotten, but because He is strengthening your dependence on Him. Prayer keeps loneliness from turning into isolation. It reminds you that even when no one else understands your journey, God is fully aware of every step. This year, your faith will be tested, but it will also be proven stronger than you thought, proven deeper than before. Prayer does not remove tests. It gives you confidence while walking through them. It assures you that whatever God allows, He also equips you to endure. You may find yourself praying differently this year, less asking, more listening, less talking, more trusting. Prayer matures when you realize that silence with God can be just as powerful as words. In those quiet moments, God often reveals what noise would have drowned out. This prayer is also about asking God to purify your motives, to help you want what He wants, not just what looks impressive, to pursue purpose over applause, to value obedience over recognition, because success without integrity becomes a burden, not a blessing. As this year unfolds, there will be moments when doors close unexpectedly. Prayer keeps you from forcing doors God has shut for your protection. It helps you trust that rejection is sometimes redirection, that what didn't work out may have been saving you from something you weren't meant to carry. This year, God wants to deepen your relationship with Him, not just improve your circumstances. Circumstances change, but relationship sustains. And prayer is the language of that relationship. It keeps you connected even when emotions fluctuate. You may notice that after praying, your desires begin to change. Things you once chased may no longer excite you. Things you once ignored may suddenly matter. That is alignment happening. That is God reshaping your heart to match the season He is bringing you into. This year will require discipline. Discipline in what you allow into your mind. Discipline in how you manage your time. Discipline in what you tolerate emotionally and spiritually. Prayer strengthens discipline by reminding you of the bigger picture. It helps you choose long-term peace over short-term comfort. There will be moments when you feel behind, when comparison tries to steal your joy, when you wonder if you are progressing fast enough. Prayer reminds you that God's plan for you is not competing with anyone else's timeline. What is meant for you will arrive when you are ready to sustain it. This year, you will be tempted to quit something God asked you to start. Prayer renews your commitment when enthusiasm fades. It reminds you why you began. It reconnects you to the purpose behind the effort. God's favor this year will not always come in visible forms. Sometimes favor looks like restraint, like unanswered prayers that protect you, like delays that build character. Prayer helps you trust God, even when favor doesn't look flashy. As you continue to pray, you will begin to notice subtle changes within yourself, increased patience, greater clarity, a calmer response to things that once triggered you. That is evidence of God's work. Transformation often happens quietly before it shows outwardly. This year, your obedience may inspire others without you even realizing it. Prayer shapes your life into a testimony, not through perfection, but through consistency, through choosing faith even when fear whispers loudly. There will be seasons of abundance and seasons of pruning. Prayer keeps you grateful in abundance and hopeful in pruning. It reminds you that God's love does not fluctuate with circumstances. This prayer is also about asking God to protect your peace, to help you guard your heart against bitterness, resentment, and unnecessary conflict. Peace is not passive. It is something you protect intentionally. Prayer strengthens your ability to choose peace without compromising truth. This year, God may call you to forgive someone you thought you had already forgiven. Prayer brings hidden wounds to the surface so they can truly heal. Forgiveness is not about excusing behavior. It is about freeing your future from the weight of the past. As you pray, remember that God is not rushing you. He is refining you. He is not pressuring you. He is preparing you. And preparation always precedes promotion. There will be moments this year when you feel stretched beyond your comfort zone. Prayer reminds you that growth happens outside familiarity, that faith expands when you trust God in unfamiliar territory. This year, you will learn to value obedience over outcome, to trust God even when results are not immediate. PR. Air keeps your heart steady while waiting for harvest. God's breakthrough often comes after consistent faithfulness, not emotional highs. Prayer builds that consistency. It anchors you in truth when feelings fluctuate. As the year continues, you'll begin to see how moments that once felt insignificant were actually strategic. Prayer sharpens your awareness of God's hand in the details. This year will not be defined by what you lose, but by what you gain in wisdom, strength, and clarity. Prayer keeps your focus on what truly matters. And as you keep praying, keep trusting, keep surrendering, you will find yourself walking differently, thinking differently, responding differently, because God is not just changing your circumstances, He is reshaping your inner world, aligning your spirit with His will, preparing you for moments you have not yet encountered, strengthening you for responsibilities you do not yet see, and guiding you step by step into what He has already ordained, even now, even quietly, even as this journey continues forward, into spaces that once felt unreachable, into conversations that once felt intimidating, into responsibilities that once felt overwhelming. Prayer has a way of expanding your capacity before expanding your environment. It prepares your inner strength so that when God increases your outer influence, you don't collapse under the weight of it. This year, you will notice that some things no longer trigger you the way they used to. Situations that once stole your peace will now meet a calmer version of you. That is not coincidence. That is the result of time spent with God. Prayer changes your reactions before it changes your results. It teaches you how to respond instead of react, how to pause instead of panic, how to trust instead of rush. There will be moments when progress feels slow, when you wonder if anything is happening. Prayer reminds you that growth is not always loud. Roots grow silently before fruit appears. God often works in hidden places long before He reveals visible outcomes. What you are becoming matters just as much as what you are building. This year, God may reduce some things in your life before He increases others. Less noise, fewer distractions, smaller circles. Prayer helps you understand that reduction is not punishment, it is focus. God removes what competes with your purpose so that what remains can flourish. You may also find yourself saying no more often this year. No to opportunities that look good but don't feel right. No to conversations that drain rather than build. No to habits that no longer align with your values. Prayer sharpens your discernment so that your yes carries weight and your no brings peace. There will be days when faith feels effortless and days when it feels heavy. Prayer sustains you through both. It keeps you grounded when confidence is high and anchored when doubt tries to creep in. Faith is not the absence of questions. It is the decision to trust God even while questions remain unanswered. This year, God may revisit promises He spoke to you long ago, promises you assumed were forgotten, promises you stopped mentioning because time passed. Prayer reopens those conversations. It reminds you that God's word does not expire simply because circumstances delayed fulfillment. You will also discover that prayer changes how you see setbacks. What once felt like failure may reveal itself as redirection. What once felt like loss may show itself as protection. Prayer reframes your perspective so you can recognize God's mercy even in moments of disappointment. This year, your spiritual endurance will increase. You will learn how to stay consistent even when motivation fades. Prayer teaches you discipline rooted in devotion, not pressure. It reminds you that showing up matters even when you don't feel inspired. There will be moments when God asks you to trust Him with less information than you would prefer. Prayer helps you move forward without needing every detail. It teaches you that clarity often follows obedience, not the other way around. This year, you may experience moments of sudden insight where things finally make sense. Moments where past confusion becomes present understanding. Prayer creates space for revelation. It allows God to connect dots you couldn't see before. You will also learn that prayer does not always change the situation immediately, but it always changes you. And a changed perspective can transform how you experience the same circumstance. This year, God may challenge you to let go of control, to stop micromanaging outcomes, to trust that He is capable of handling what you cannot. Prayer loosens your grip on control and strengthens your trust in God's sovereignty. You may notice that your priorities begin to shift, that things you once chased no longer define you, that peace becomes more valuable than proving yourself. Prayer aligns your heart with what truly satisfies. There will be moments this year when obedience costs you comfort, when doing the right thing feels harder than doing the easy thing. Prayer gives you strength to choose integrity even when no one is watching. This year, God will remind you that your worth is not tied to productivity, that rest is not laziness, it is obedience. Prayer teaches you how to rest without guilt and work without striving. You may feel God calling you to step out in faith in ways that stretch you, to speak when you would rather stay quiet, to act when you would rather wait. Prayer gives you courage to move even when fear tries to hold you back. This year, you will become more aware of God's presence in ordinary ints, in conversations, in quiet mornings, in unexpected pauses. Prayer trains your heart to recognize that God is not only present in big moments, but in daily life. There will be times when God answers your prayers in ways that surprise you, ways that don't match your expectations, but exceed your needs. Prayer teaches you to trust God's wisdom over your assumptions. This year, you may find yourself forgiving more freely, letting go more quickly, carrying less emotional weight. Prayer softens your heart without weakening your boundaries. You will also learn to wait without anxiety, to trust that what is meant for you will arrive at the right time. Prayer replaces impatience with peace. This year, God may place you in positions where others look to you for guidance. Prayer prepares you to lead with humility rather than ego, to serve rather than impress. There will be moments when you feel stretched thin, when responsibilities increase and time feels limited. Prayer helps you manage pressure without losing perspective. This year, you will learn that God's favor does not exempt you from effort. It empowers your effort. Prayer aligns your work with God's purpose so that what you build lasts. You may experience moments of correction, where God lovingly points out areas that need adjustment. Prayer keeps your heart teachable instead of defensive. This year, your faith may look quieter but stronger, less dramatic but more stable. Prayer matures your faith so it can withstand storms without needing constant reassurance. You will also recognize that some prayers take time to unfold, that persistence matters. Prayer teaches you how to keep believing even when progress feels invisible. This year, God will remind you that obedience in small things prepares you for greater responsibility. Prayer helps you remain faithful in what feels ordinary. There will be times when you feel misunderstood, when others don't see your intentions. Prayer reminds you that God sees fully and judges righteously. This year, you may experience divine interruptions, unexpected changes that alter your plans. Prayer helps you stay flexible and responsive rather than resistant. You will also become more aware of your own growth, not through perfection, but through progress. Prayer helps you measure success by faithfulness rather than comparison. This year, God may invite you into deeper intimacy with Him, to spend time with Him without an agenda. Prayer becomes less about asking and more about being present. You will learn that God's peace does not depend on circumstances aligning perfectly. Prayer anchors you in peace that remains steady even when life feels uncertain. This year, you may face moments where you must choose faith over familiarity. Prayer gives you courage to step into the unknown, trusting that God goes with you. You will also discover that prayer increases gratitude, that even in challenging seasons, there is something to thank God for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. This year, God will remind you that you are not walking this journey alone, that His presence surrounds you even when you feel unseen. Prayer keeps you aware of that truth. There will be days when you feel strong and days when you feel weary. Prayer sustains you through both. It renews your strength without requiring perfection. This year, your obedience may not always be celebrated, but it will always be noticed by God. Prayer reminds you that God's approval matters more than public recognition. You may also learn to trust God with unanswered questions, to live with mystery without losing faith. Prayer teaches you that not knowing everything does not mean God is not working. This year, God may bring healing in layers, gradually. Ently, prayer gives you patience with the process. You will begin to recognize how far you've come, not just in accomplishments, but in character. Prayer keeps you humble while acknowledging growth. This year, God may call you to plant seeds you will not see grow immediately. Prayer strengthens your faith to sow without instant reward. You will also become more intentional with your words, more aware of the power they carry. Prayer aligns your speech with grace and truth. This year, you will learn to trust God's leading even when it doesn't align with popular opinion. Prayer strengthens your confidence to follow God rather than crowds. There will be moments when you feel God's peace settle over you unexpectedly, moments where anxiety loosens its grip. Prayer creates space for those moments. This year, God will continue shaping you, refining you, guiding you step by step, revealing His faithfulness in ways both subtle and profound, teaching you to listen more closely, to trust more deeply, to walk more steadily, to surrender more fully as you keep moving forward, learning, growing, praying, trusting, and remaining open to what He is doing now and what He is still preparing to unfold. As you come to this moment, understand that this prayer, this pause, this alignment is not an ending but a doorway. Everything you have reflected on, everything you have felt stirring in your spirit is an invitation to walk forward with God at the center, not on the sidelines. This year does not begin with certainty, but it begins with trust. It does not demand perfection, but it responds to surrender. When you choose prayer, you are choosing partnership with heaven. You are choosing to let God shape your steps, guard your heart, and guide your decisions. Whatever awaits you ahead, you will not walk into it alone. God's presence will go before you. His peace will steady you. His wisdom will instruct you, and His grace will sustain you. Let this be the year where faith is not just spoken, but lived. Where prayer is not occasional, but foundational. Where you move forward not driven by fear or pressure, but led by trust and anchored in God's promises, knowing with confidence that what He has started in you, He is faithful to carry through.